Attendees are in listen-only mode.
All righty. Good afternoon. We've got just a minute before the top of the hour, so everybody's coming in right now. So welcome everybody who's joining us, and welcome Jackie and Judy. Give us just a few minutes for people to get on the line, and then we'll get started. Sound good?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No.
Dun dun dun. I feel like we should have some music or something going. All righty. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're very excited about our guest today. Just a little housekeeping first. If you guys have any questions during the session, please feel free to use the Q&A panel. Write your questions in. We'll try to get to as many as possible. We are thrilled today to have Miss Jackie Root, a master recruiter, with us. 9 months after becoming an agent, and long after a career in marketing and development, she was asked if she'd be willing to create a position that did not exist. I love those are some of my favorite positions, Jackie. With her company's team to grow the company, her insights and ideas and strategies took them from 215 agents to expand in new markets to 487 and increased transactions from 4,500 a year to 6,850 a year and well over $1 billion in volume. Holy smokes, that's an accomplishment. Welcome to you, Jackie, and welcome to you, Judy LaDeur, our coach. We're so excited to have both of you here today. And on that note, Judy, I'm going to let you take it away.
Thank you so much, Julie. And I kind of agree with you. I think that when someone says, can you create a position that doesn't exist? I've been asked to do that several times myself. So maybe that's one of the qualities in a successful recruiter. What do you think, Jackie?
I would say, Judy, that is definitely the ability, to have some vision to take that and see where can we go with this. And I think to be able to have unlimited vision too,
Yeah. So I think there's a quote out there that I forget the quote, so I won't even try, but I'll mess it up. But it's kind of like, so many things in the world are accomplished by people who aren't smart enough to know that they can't do it, and they're too crazy to to not try it. So, I think that that's really true. Is that when you don't know that you can't do it, oftentimes you can, and that's certainly true with you, Jackie. So it was such a pleasure having you at our 3-day event in Chicago just a couple of months ago. Obviously, you came out of that event with a huge amount of success, with a fantastic ending to 2018. I'm sure 2019 is off to a great start. We're going to hear about that in just a moment. But first, thank you, Jackie, for not only being on the call today, but being willing to be open and to share what you've done, how you have created this position, a system that did not exist before, and just willing to help other brokers accomplish that same level of success, because you know what, we're all in it together. So thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome, Judy.
Good. I'm just going to start with this question, which I think is a really important question for a lot of our brokers that are listening, and even our recruiters who are just getting started. So we have a lot of companies just in the last 6 months that have brought on full-time recruiters. I'm coaching many of those recruiters right now, and they're curious as to what's vital, what characteristics or qualities are vital to be a successful recruiter. But we also have a lot of brokers that we're assisting right now to find the right person for the role of recruiter. So let's start with this question: what qualities are vital in a successful recruiter?
That is a great question, Judy. And honestly, I am our market's starting to expand a little, so I'm looking for recruiters in other markets too. And so I've really been dialing this in. And I think one of the most important things, as you said earlier, is someone who doesn't know that they don't know. So oftentimes people think, if they're not in real estate, they're not going to be a successful real estate recruiter. And I heard that a lot when I started, and I actually was just laughing about it yesterday with my broker, because we laughed about how probably my first year and a half or 2 years, agents would call him up and say, why did you hire Jackie Root? She has only been an agent 9 months. She knows nothing about real estate. How is she possibly going to help grow the company? Well, because it's not about what you know about real estate. It's really about what you're willing to learn, and are you willing to become an excellent listener? And I think that's so critical, because so many times we want to talk. But if we can train ourselves and school ourselves to be a really great listener, an active listener, where the other person is super aware that you are present and you really care, about
Right.
what's going on. And that
That's
was one of the
important in
things.
recruiting and in life, right?
And
Right.
actually, I had.
I
Go
was
ahead.
just a great point, Julie, because I think you're right, Jackie. I have brokers always ask me, like, how can they recruit if they don't have a background in real estate? Sometimes it can hinder you because maybe you have too much empathy as an agent. But I think that a recruiter it's more about having great life skills, as you just said, Julie, life skills, people skills, listening skills. It's a different quality of attributes, perhaps, that makes a recruiter.
It really is. And I mean, you can learn enough about real estate to understand where they're coming from, but really a realtor is an entrepreneur, right? So
Right.
They are an entrepreneur. They are building their own business. So it's really no different than any other business that they would be starting. So they just want to know that you are actually present in front of them because you really believe you have something of value. And I think that's really important. And I've seen people in recruiting positions where you're not picking up on the fact that they are sold themselves. And I think if we're going to go into something like this where we are set on impacting people's lives on a daily basis, it's critical that we are authentically sold ourselves.
Exactly.
And if we are, and we know that we know that we know that we know, and we just want to share that with people, that comes across in a much more authentic way than if we are hesitant or timid or uncertain or just really honestly don't believe in the value proposition of the product we're sharing, And so I think getting really sold yourself, and if you're a recruiter and you're not yet sold yourself, sit down, take a little time out, figure out what is it about this company or this offering that I really believe in? What are the things that can help sell me on this so that I can go out and share this passionately and authentically?
I love that. So you have to be a great listener. You have to be passionate about your message. You have to be 100% in. You have to truly believe that company is the best option for agents in the marketplace, and that you have an opportunity that you want to share, if that's what I'm hearing correctly.
Yes, you are hearing that correctly. And something else too, I think you guys, and maybe you guys feel this way too, like I think the term recruiter can sometimes be seen as a negative, kind of like, oh, like used car salesman or, something like that, or where people kind of scoff at it. So in my mind, I have a whole dialogue of ways that I look at it. Like when I get up and I start the day, I say I'm so excited to help people see new options and discover and increase quality of life.
I love that.
So I have a whole different way that I prepare myself, and that's one of the other points I wanted to make was it's so critical that we take personal responsibility to prepare ourselves because it's no one else's job to motivate us. It's we're kind of a team of one, as a recruiter. It's no one's job to motivate you to be your best. The only thing that they can do is support you on the back end. But to get out the door, you've got to take good care of your wellness, right? So your physical, your mental, your emotional, are you eating the right foods? Are you exercising? Are you feeding your mind? Sometimes hourly. Sometimes I'll leave an appointment, get back in my car, put a new podcast on, and I'll listen to that on the way to the next appointment and then go do that and jump back in. I'm the only one responsible for keeping myself in top game form. And, I know that, and I know that we all get to choose every day, every minute of every day. Are we going to survive or are we going to thrive? So I really believe that to treat our well-being kind of like a job or like a car. If you don't get an oil change, if you don't get your brakes done, it's not going to run the way that it's supposed to run. So taking care of our well-being allows us to be the best that we can be when we get out there.
I love that. And I know for a fact that is a huge part of your success. So I love that quote. I'm responsible for keeping myself in top game form. And you're right, because it does have to do with your rest, your diet, your exercise, your mental being. And there are often times when I've had brokers send a manager or potentially a recruiter to our event, and they will be telling me what's wrong with the company, or the company should change, or they're not really, like, I can't recruit because of this. And that is a
Right.
huge problem when the person in charge of, like, you bring people in, like, has this whole list of things that the company's not doing right, or what's wrong with the company. And so I love that's a great way to start our event there, our webinar today, because it all starts with you, and having the right person is really important for brokers. Cool.
Yes, it is.
Geez, we could stop here and everybody would be better just with that advice. So, but we'll keep going. So, Jackie, what sort of support systems do you utilize on the back end for that successful transition, their growth, retention? I mean, systems are really important as a recruiter, because if you get those systems in place, you can focus on your job, which is bringing people on board. But if it all falls apart once they sign, or you have to stop and start at the beginning every single day to put things in place, then you're wasting a lot of time, I would imagine. Is that correct?
Well, that is correct. And Judy, I want to thank you for this and 100 other things, because, being at your conference literally changed the entire way that I conduct, and we'll go into this in a little bit, but the way that I actually conduct the appointment and so much more. But one of the key things, and just so you guys know, I've been recruiting for 5-star for 3.5 years. And until I went to Judy's conference, I really had no official training for the job. Well, and again, because we made the job up. So, I was making the job up as I was going along. And so I sat with my broker to do the interviews. And so all I learned was his style of recruiting, which is very relaxed, very relational, very storytelling, which is all great. But again, that's all I had ever seen or known. Mm-hmm. And so until I went to Judy's, I didn't even know that you could go for it and close 7 of 10 in the first appointment.
Right.
And that turned a light bulb in my head. And I'm like, wait a minute, each appointment doesn't have to take three meetings. I don't have to keep following up. I can close right now.
Wait a minute. We don't have to do it the hard way.
Wait a minute here. Right. So that was really critical that I got from Judy. And another thing was, I think because we were creating the position, I felt like I was fighting a battle every day to get the support on the back end, to get people to understand that I need assistance with this when I bring them to you. And it is a yes. I need someone to take this person now, take them, deal with the onboarding, get their paperwork in, get them assimilated, get them the year-long calendar, make sure they go to orientation, follow up a week from now, follow up 2 weeks from now, follow back up to make sure they're coming to company meeting. All of that stuff on the back end to keep those people close, keep the retention high. Then check in on their activity level. Are they in activity yet? If they're not in activity, why not? What's the problem? Do they need a lead gen class? Are they just terrified to pick up the phone? What are some ways we could suggest that they start generating, new leads? Are they taking open houses? That side of things. Are we watching their activity? So are we increasing retention by keeping them close to us? Are we increasing activity by offering support, suggestion, and leading them down the road to make the right move? And are the people at the company, and I thank Judy for this so much, appreciating the fact that really the answer to a recruiter should not be no. Because if a recruiter says, I need this, it's not because they're, posing or they're, thinking they're a big shot. It's because they need this. They're out there. And I came home from Judy's event and I said, you guys, here's the thing. I'm out there pounding the pavement on the front line, and I'm doing what I need to do, right? I'm hunting, I'm gathering, and I'm bringing it back home. When I bring it back home, somebody else needs to take it over.
Good.
And so that was huge for me to have the confidence to know that that is the way that it needs to go, and that I have the right to ask for that, and then to kind of dial in on what we need. So since then, we have added a transition specialist who literally takes the person from the time I say it's go time and gets them on, takes care of all the paperwork. And then we've added a communications director who walks beside those people for their first 6 months in the business.
I love that. So two great positions to only make sure that transition is smooth, but that you retain these agents once you've worked so hard to get them in.
To get them in, yep. And then the third thing is we just decided this yesterday, and I have been, and it's a lot of this I've been asking for or working toward, designing for the 3.5 years. So it's just now coming to fruition. So I'm pretty excited about what 2019 is going to look like. But the third thing is hiring a deal buddy. And so we do attract a lot of new to the industry agents now because we have had so many very successful new to the industry agents come in and just kill it. First year, they're doing 4 million, 5 million, 6 million. We've had rookie of the year for out of 4,000 agents in Grand Rapids. And so people are just seeing our new to the industry soaring. So of course we're attracting more. But the concern was, okay, yes, we're attracting these new to the industry, but who is walking them through these first deals, right? Who is making sure they're knocking themselves into hot water? Who is kind of supervising them and educating them in the process? So we decided to build a team of deal buddies within the company, top agents that we've vetted that will, when I bring a new to the industry agent in, I will align them with the deal buddy and they will walk alongside our agent for the first 3 deals. The agent will pay a fee to the deal buddy, so it's a good, it's a benefit to the deal buddy. It protects us on the back end, for E&O. It eliminates or reduces calls to the deal doctor. That's what we call our transaction
I love that.
and negotiation. Our deal doctor reduces calls to the deal doctor, and makes the agent, the new the industry agent, feel really confident that they've got somebody to go to make sure their first 3 deals go well.
That's awesome.
Wow, I love that. And deal buddies are existing agents within your organization. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Perfect.
So that is all new, Judy. That's all new since I went to your class.
That's awesome.
Wow. So good for you.
Thank
because,
you.
you went back and said, hey, you know what? If I have this, we can take it to the next level. Now, some of our listeners don't really know what kind of success that you had in the last quarter. Maybe all your quarters look this way, but you took our to the training. I think it was the first week of November, something like that, right? And
I went to the training in I think it was October, end of October.
End of October, right? So you had 2 months left in the year. How many agents did you sign up in the last 2 months of the year?
In the last 2.5 months, because that's what you and we tracked, was 2.5 months, was 52 agents. 52
agents in the last 2.5 months of the year. Now, there are a few brokers on this call right now whose mouths just hit the table going, what the heck? And, but that is so awesome. But more importantly, here's what I love about that is that you got 52 agents that came on board. Now, about half or a little over half of that, as I recall, were existing agents, right?
Transfer agents, correct? Yes. So it was a total. Yep, it was a total increase of 688 transactions a year. We will see, based on that's bringing them over. That's what they were producing before they came over, and we typically see an increase once we get them. But so an increase of 688 transactions and an increase of 117 million in volume.
Because there were, as I recall, it's been a while. I think it's like about 35 existing agents with production totaling 688 units out of that 52. Is that about right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, so we had a lot of brokers that contacted us, like a lot of brokers said, well, you know what, after November, no one's doing anything after Thanksgiving. So for the last 6 weeks of the year, agents aren't moving, we can't get them in. Obviously, in the last 2.5 months of the year, which was, we started with Halloween here in this country, Thanksgiving, which occurred in November, December with a lot of holidays. A lot of agents did move. And so good for you for really making that second quarter the best it could be. What did you find? What was the verbiage that you used, just so our brokers know, to grab their attention? And do you think it was just what you were saying then, or was it a result of the relationships that you had been building all year long?
Well, that is a great question. I think 2 things. I did come back, super inspired and, pretty ready to rock. And so I did close 11 of those were pipeline agents. So 11 of the 52 were already in my pipeline that I just got intentional about closing. But the rest were new that I immediately got with and was able to close in a short period of time. And I kept the focus on the fact that, yes, it's a busy season with the holidays. However, let's talk a little bit about what you want 2019 to look like. What did you enjoy about 2018? What would you like to change about that? Would you like to see an increase in the quality of your life? Would you like more free time? What would you do with that free time? What would it feel like, Bob, if you had to work 20 hours less a week because you're keeping this much more of your profit, or because you're getting 11 of those 11 inquiries from each listing that NAR says you're supposed to gain, and because you're branding yourself at 5-star, you will get 11 of those 11. Versus the 30% that you're actually getting now because your broker has floor time or whatever. I won't keep going on a spiel, but so
where they want to be versus perhaps where they are, and change
exactly, and change their whole mindset. And because yes, it's busy with the holidays, but why don't we get busy now? Take care of things so that on January 1 you start 2019 ready to go. You're fresh, your signs are there, your cards are there, you're in the system and you're beginning the new year and you're not behind the 8 ball because, if you want to make the transition in January or February, you're going to lose some of that first quarter. Why not go now and have a stunning first quarter?
That is awesome. And, you said something, Jackie, that I brokers constantly challenge me on, because I always say, look, a master recruiter, that's someone who follows this process very closely, has their systems in place, builds those relationships, stays positioned. When you are face-to-face with that agent who's ready to make a move, you can close them 7 out of 10 times on that first interview. Now, first, I want to congratulate you, Jackie, because for most brokers, it takes them quite a while to accomplish that, to get to that point to where maybe it's a lot of their belief system. Maybe they just don't believe they can do it initially until it actually happens. But it sounds like from the time that you left that event, the end of October, that you embraced that idea of I can close 7 out of 10 agents that I meet with, existing agents, the first time I meet with them, and you must have done it to have those kind of numbers. So for the brokers that are listening who just can't imagine how to do that, can you share what that feels like and maybe how you felt when you walked out of there with regard to that and how you applied it in the last quarter?
Okay, great, thanks. I did become very intentional. I did receive that. As soon as you said it, it was like, a light bulb went off, and I came home and I immediately put up affirmations around my house, and my bathroom mirror is like all lipstick, affirmations, and they're on my fridge and, in my car and, in every notebook. So just, I am a master recruiter. I'm capable of closing 7 of 10. I have what people want, right? Nobody can resist this incredible offering. This is not about me. This is about me impacting other people's lives. How many people will I affect today in a positive way just by going out and sharing what I have? Maybe they'll come with me. Maybe they won't. Maybe I'll just inspire them to go back to their broker and, and negotiate a new raise for them. But you know what? I still impacted their life. So my job is just to get out the door every single day, talk to no less than 6 to 10 people live and in person, face to face. And then I do a bunch of phone interviews as well. But I increased my number of people that I saw. I went into it super intentionally. And then I changed my format in the interview based on Judy's training, which was great because I used to start with the tangibles of the value first, right? So the tools, the money, the education, all of that. And I switched that around after being at Judy's training, and I start with the intangibles first, and I get them emotionally sold and emotionally connected, and get them envisioning through good questioning what their life will feel like if it looks like this. So intangibles first, and I achieved that through things that I learned from Judy, which was to be a lot more relaxed and less on a mission. I mean, you probably can't pick up on this, but I'm a driver.
No,
No, I know. Shocker there, but yes. So
You know,
to
if
go
I could
into
jump in real
it.
quick, I love what you're saying and all the intentionality that you had, because I talk to so many brokers, which, and one of their biggest obstacles is picking up the phone. They don't want to do it. They don't, they don't feel good doing it. They don't feel authentic doing it. So there's a lot of fear there, right? And there's a lot of barriers. But in the way you're approaching it, in that, how many people can I help today? How many lives can I touch today? And, whether they come, whether they don't, I can improve their lives. When you take it in that stance, when you look at prospecting in that way, man, that's a whole new ballgame.
It
Exactly.
absolutely is. It absolutely is, Julie. And I think that's why I have such a deep pipeline, because even if I don't get them, like those 11 that I came home and closed, some of those were a year and a half to 2 years in my pipeline. And
Right.
so I do, even if I don't close them that first time, which, I didn't used to think that I could, I created relationships, and, trust was built. And I will tell you, I'm super honest and authentic. And if someone asks me a question I don't know the answer to, because, I was new too. So if you're a new recruiter, hey, you don't know the answers for a while. I think probably just this year, I maybe the last 6 months, I haven't been stumped at an interview. And even still, sometimes I have to take a note and write a question down and say, gosh, that's a great question. Let me go back to the team and find out and get an answer for you. I think it's just being really authentic and relaxed, relational, spending a lot more time asking questions and less fact stating. Wow, that was a huge change. I used to state facts and stats and numbers, all of that, before I even got them engaged in the intangibles.
Right.
So that was a significant difference.
I love that. So what I hear you saying is that you basically first create that vision and the desire to have whatever it is that they want, and then you show them how they can through the tools and offerings that you have. So it's create it first, then show them how they can have it.
Exactly. And then take it that one step further that you taught us, which was or maybe everybody else on the phone knew this. I didn't. But to take it one step further and actually use numbers to then solidify the intangibles. Like, for instance, Judy, right now, what that you should be seeing 11 inquiries from every listing sign. How many do you think that you're actually seeing? Oh, you're
Right.
seeing about 5. So you're seeing about 50%. So Judy, how could you see your business and your income increasing if you were getting 50% more of those leads?
Right.
What would that equate to you in terms of income, right? And
Right.
then in terms of income, and then how would that affect your quality of life? And then what would you do with that free time? So all of those things that you taught us, which was to dive down deeper and keep kind of being an investigator. And
Right.
and I'll tell you, it's so cute. My broker now calls me the secret assassin.
Well, I can
Bill Donovan, the secret assassin. I love the alliteration you guys have going on.
Because I will just keep diving down and getting it until you get to the thing that like speaks to someone's heart, because it's different for everyone, right?
I love that. And what that really also says is that you don't go into the interview just thinking, okay, quickly, how do I get them to say yes? But you go into it with the attitude of what's their why? Like,
Exactly.
right. And when you can approach the interview like that, with a true desire to help people achieve or accomplish what they're trying to achieve in life, and to also make sure that they're a good fit for you, because, if you do really dig down and you ask a lot of questions and you're honest with yourself, there's going to be some times where you're just going to think, you know what, we're just not a good fit for that person. And that's another great level to be at, when you can say, look, you know what, you're an awesome individual, but you know what, we're not the right fit for you. But here's, if you'd like, I can give you some suggestions. So, yeah, don't go into it trying to recruit them. Go into it with a true desire to understand where they're coming from, what's their why, whatever. And
that's so true, Judy. That really is true. And I did actually last week have to tell 2 agents that I didn't think that we were the right fit.
good for you.
that it was an integrity issue, and based upon, their current situation or things that, that I had learned from the industry that they just weren't a good fit for us, that we spent 24 years developing a reputation, and every single person that's part of this company, works really hard to maintain that. And I just didn't feel that they were in line with that vision. So
that's awesome. One of the things along those lines is, I think, which I know you've really embraced, is the fact that if you have an expectation of an agent, within your organization, what's going to happen, because you put all these great positions in place to make sure that they're well taken care of once they join. How do you communicate the agent's responsibility and what your expectations are to them before they actually come on board, so that once they are on board, they're fully engaged in the program and they fully embrace those things that you're doing as a company?
Well, a lot of that, I think, starts with the conversation about the intangibles and really like who we are as a company. What do we stand for? What are we looking for in agents?
Right.
And so I talk a lot about that, and I'll say, you may have noticed, Judy, like you may have noticed the last 10 agents that just came over in this market are all top quality human beings, as well as, monster producers. But it's really more important for us that that we continue to attract really good quality people that do Integris business and that are professional and that, choose to take the high road. Those are things that we look for and that we're really gonna require from an agent that becomes a part of 5-Star. So I know that's how you've been practicing your business. I know that's how you live your life. I know that's why you're so successful, because people know you, like you, and trust you. And, that's why that's going to align with us. And I just want you to know we're not a company that does accept everyone, because I've actually watched my broker let a $14 million producer go, a $10 million producer go, an $8 million producer go, because they weren't keeping, those value systems in place. So it's good to know that, we're on the same page with this.
That's awesome.
So
now, obviously, it has a lot to do with relationships. So with regard to systems that you found work best with regard to building relationships, what have you found works best for you, and what would you suggest for our listeners that they do to make sure that they're building those relationships and maintaining them until the time's right?
Okay, well, this was an interesting thing for me too at your class is you guys, or a lot of the brokers and recruiters, they only meet people at their offices. And I had never met anyone at our office, never. And when I was at your class, well, interestingly enough, I thought, is this something I should change when I go home? And I did it a couple of times, but it just doesn't have the same vibe, because, and I think here's the difference. We have almost 500 agents, and out of those 500 agents, only 80 are in office. So we're a pretty virtual company.
Right.
And so, so the people that I'm attracting and that I'm working with, it just feels, and maybe it's just my style, I like meeting them for coffee or for lunch. And I think maybe that's what sets the tone for that relationship and that conversation and that feeling of, we're just here, we're just two human beings getting to know one another, and then we're going to talk a little bit about how your life can change.
So now, is that so coffee and lunch, as we've always talked about, is great for building the relationships and just getting to know people. So just for clarification, so that I know and our listeners know, when you are, so one of the best ways you think for building that relationship is meet them one-on-one, have coffee, have lunch. What about when it's time for the interview? Is that interview still taking place over coffee or lunch, or is it taking place in the office, or a little of each?
No, that is the interview. So if I'm meeting them for coffee or lunch, I'm building that relationship and I'm going in for the close. All at the same appointment now. Okay,
great. So awesome. Well, I mean, obviously that is working for you. So that
don't stop.
Yeah, don't stop. Now,
52 agents later, do what you're doing. You're good.
Yeah. So, but if, let's say you don't know someone and they're just not willing to meet with you or whatever, are there any other things that you're doing to build those relationships prior to that meeting that you found really work? So like a lot of people there using videos, a lot of people on different social media platforms. Some are just out there networking or at open houses. So with regard to building that relationship before you actually are meeting them for the interview? What works best for you?
Well, and that's on my list of things to add, because I learned that in your class, and I know that it's valuable, is spending time on social media. I just haven't disciplined myself to do that yet, but I would like to add that. I also have a video production scheduled for the end of this month, so I will be getting a video made of myself, so I will be able to send it to people before I meet with them. At this time, I don't. I just make the phone call. I do a lot of cold calling, and then I do, and so do you want me to do the cold call?
Sure, I'm glad we do. So I want to just point out to a lot of our members who are listening, because one of the things we talk about in our classes is there's two styles of prospecting and two styles of becoming successful, whether you're an agent or a recruiter. One is a hunter and one is the farmer. And so that style that you're talking about, Jackie, right now, you're a hunter, meaning that for you, you love to jump on the phone, getting that agent, getting them commit to meet with you. And when they commit to meet with you at that point, bottom line is your job is to see what it's going to take, where they're at in their career, and bring them on board. So that is a hunter approach to the business, highly successful, okay, for agents and brokers, and obviously doing that really, really well. So that's great. Yes, everybody wants to know what dialogue works best when you're on the phone. So if you're willing to share it, I'm sure they're all holding their pen in their hand right now.
Oh gosh, it's so simple. But I will do it. And I just want to add to that if I don't either A, close them on the first appointment, or B, get the appointment, then you had asked how do I continue the follow up. Well, then it's text, personal handwritten notes, gift baskets, flowers, creative gifts, anything that keeps me in front of them. Sometimes I'll do like a spreadsheet showing what they're currently paying their broker, what they would be paying us. Sometimes I'll send like a new piece of marketing that our company has come out with and just say, wow, would love to see your face on this, or something like that. Or if I drive by a listing of an agent that I'm hot for and, say it's a Green Ridge sign, no offense, Green Ridge, if you're on the phone, then I'll take a picture of the Green Ridge sign and text them and go, ooh, look how, think how great your name would look if this was on a 5-star sign. Just, connectivity, things like that. So I'm probably in touch with people that I intend to recruit at least once a month in some way or another. If I don't get them right away. Okay. And then, the call is super simple. I will share this too. I do get a lot of referrals from my existing agents.
Good.
So, and that's something I've really cultivated that over the years, and I really I'm happy to say that I have very strong referrals. And so sometimes right at the actual interview, when I'm meeting them for coffee, lunch, and interview, and they're saying yes and they're coming on board, they're already giving me 2 or 3 names. I just had that happen with an agent, and by the time she officially got in, 2 of the referrals she already gave me were in the week after her.
Oh my gosh. So 2 things we'd love for you to share with our listeners. One is, what's the dialogues you use? 2, how have you cultivated those referrals? What have you done to cultivate that relationship with your existing agent or those referrals? Because again, that's something that many of our brokers really find a challenge.
Okay. So I just make a simple phone call. Hi, Judy. It's Jackie Ruth, the Director of Growth and Development with 5-Star Real Estate. How are you?
Great, thanks.
Good. Hey, listen, I just wanted to let you know I have heard nothing but tremendous things about you from 2 women that I deeply admire, Kim Ricker and Patty Cybersky, both of whom, just recently came over to 5-Star. And because I respect them so much and really just enjoy who they are as people, I couldn't wait to give you a call and see if perhaps you would do me the honor of sharing a cup of coffee and a conversation.
Great. So let's just say that I say, gosh, Jackie, I appreciate that. And thank you so much for that compliment. Compliments are always great. But I'm real happy where I'm at right now. Probably not interested right now in getting together. What would be your response?
I'd say, great. You know what, Judy? I love happy people. I really enjoy spending time with happy people, right? Life is short, and I would much rather have a cup of coffee with a happy person than an unhappy person. So how about we just grab that cup of coffee anyway? And, you may be interested in what I have to say, and you may not, but at the very least, you and I will have a new friendship and a new relationship. And real estate's really kind of a small world, isn't it? So at least we'll know one another and be able to say hi the next time we see each other at an industry event. How does that sound? Is Tuesday or Thursday better for you?
Sure, why not? Okay.
I need coffee with
Yeah. Let's just say that I'm also the driver, like you. So this is like really putting you under the gun, because of course you have no idea I'm going to ask
That's
these
good.
things.
No, I love it.
But I'm the driver who's really every moment's valuable, and I don't really need to build friendships and relationships in the marketplace. So maybe I come back to you and go, look, Jackie, appreciate where you're coming from. Again, not looking to make a move right now, and I truly don't have time for coffee. Any response to that?
Okay. I would say, Judy, thank you so much. I really respect that. I'll tell you what, to be honest with you, because I think you're so fabulous, I am going to put you on my radar screen and give you a call probably within 30 to 60 days, if that's acceptable to you.
Sure.
And you'll say, sure, just because you want to get me off the phone, probably.
Sure.
Right. Sure, fine, go ahead. And so then I will. And then I'll say, thank you. Okay, thanks so much. Have a great day. And then I will call back 30 to 60 days later. And I actually just recently had an agent say, I got to give it to you, Jackie. Your tenacity is really, really impressive. This is your, I believe, second year that you have continued to call me once every 30 to 60 days. And I have told you no every time. So at this point, I literally feel like I either have to be completely honest with you and just say, even though I appreciate you, I'm going to have you stop calling me, or I need to meet you for coffee. And I'm like, well, thank you, Frank. Which is it going to be? And he's like, I'm going to meet you for coffee.
Is that great? See, and I wanted to, I'm really glad you shared that with brokers, because first off, so many of our, recruiters and brokers out there, they're afraid that if they just keep calling that person back, every 30 to 60 days, what if they get mad at me? What if they never want to see me again? But the reality is it is all timing, and you do have to be tenacious in this business, and you do have to say, hey, you know what, if you're absolutely not going to meet with me right now, then can I follow up? Great. So it's okay, because you don't get them all right away. Sometimes you do have to get back in touch with them, right?
Well, absolutely. And, timing is everything. And, one of the things that is a recruiting tool is we wait for there to be a management moment, right? When there is an issue between the agent and the broker, or the agent and the manager. And if you're not in touch with those people, if you're not top of mind, if they don't feel like, oh yeah, you know what, that's right. She called me, I wonder if she still wants me. She's been calling me for 2 years. I bet I'd be treated nicer over there. And something I tell people too about, when you feel like, oh, I shouldn't call, think about like your own personal busy life, right? Like I'm a single woman. I have a home. If things go wrong with homes, I'll be supposed to schedule something, say like a furnace exam or whatever you call that. And I don't, and I forget. And the person calls me and I don't respond. And then they call me again a month later and say, really need to do that. And I don't call, and they call me the third time. I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I definitely need to do this. Just forgot about it, but yeah, please come over next week.
Perfect.
So I appreciate their professionalism.
Perfect.
Right? Because they persisted.
That is so awesome. Julie, do we have any questions that have come in from our listeners so far?
Everybody's being very quiet today.
Okay.
You're very engaging, so I think that's part of it.
I'd have a million questions for Jackie if I were listening today, but maybe and ask her directly. But Julie, do you have any questions that you would like to ask Jackie before I ask her final one?
I'm not sure if we covered it, but how many people are in your pipeline at any given time, Jackie? Your active pipeline?
My active pipeline between all the markets is typically 50 to 60.
Okay.
So that could be higher, and that's something I'm working on this year.
I mean, you're actively talking to 50 to 60 agents at any given time, right?
Correct. Yes.
You have a larger
engaging
market
with them every 30 days or so. So time management is a big thing for you. Obviously, it needs to be.
Yeah, it really is. Time management is it's a challenge. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I do get up early and and I stay up late.
Right.
But I've also started doing some group social events to help me with that. So, for instance, I have anything that our company is doing. So if it's a company meeting with, like we're doing free con ed. I will be there to keep the relationships going with my existing agents. Oh, that was something you asked, Judy, is how do I get the referrals from the existing agents?
Right.
So I do maintain really good close relationship with existing agents.
That's
So
awesome.
the ones that I've met as I'm bringing them in, I continue to stay in touch with them. I continue to text them, call, email, just send a card or pop into the office and say, hey, I just called too today when I was driving. Just how's it going? How do you feel you're acclimating? Is there anything you need from us? And I talk to them about what is the difference. I'll say, share with me how it feels to be here at 5-star versus how it felt when you were at, Remax. What is an intangible difference in the way that feels to you on a daily basis?
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll describe that, and I'll say, well, who else do you know, Judy, that deserves to feel that way?
Right.
Mm.
Good.
We do have, how many agents are in your market, Jackie?
Well, let's see. We are in 4 or 5 different markets right now. So the biggest market is Grand Rapids, and there are, I think, 4,000.
Okay. We've got another question.
And then we're in some smaller ones.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, then we're in some much smaller ones, too.
Awesome.
Okay, go ahead.
How do you counter the flat fee broker? We use the you get what you pay for approach, but that's hard to sell.
If you are a flat fee broker, how do you sell that?
No, I think she's asking, they're getting, how do you counter somebody that's a flat fee? They're a traditional company, but I guess they're competing with a flat fee broker in their market.
So Julie, let me rephrase that I think the benefit of everybody, because when anyone, doesn't matter what their compensation plan is, when someone says, geez, I can't compete against this, how do I compete against this? It's really a lack of value. So I want you to answer it more, Jackie, like this. Regardless of someone's compensation plan, okay, let's just say that even in your marketplace, Jackie, you had a broker. There's actually a broker like this in Maryland. There's a broker in Maryland that pays agents 100% of their commissions and actually charges them nothing, okay? And the company's called 100% Realty. Now, they opened their brokerage on the concept that agents would use their other services and that they would make money out of their services. I don't know if how they're doing, quite honestly. One of my clients told me about them, but let's just say in Grand Rapids, you got 100% realty, 100% commission, no fees, okay? How do you build enough value when an agent says, gee, why would I pick you, pay more money to you when I can go over there and keep everything? Because
I'll quote someone famous. I'll quote someone famous that we all know and love.
Oh, really?
Judy LaDeur. Judy LaDeur says, in the absence of value, money becomes a substitute.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
That's true.
Mine too. That's a Judy LaDeur quote, and I love that because truly, and we know that money only wins 20% of the time. So if you think that you can't win against a flat fee broker, it's because you're not sold enough on your own value.
Wow,
because
that's
if money only wins 20% of the time, you are not sold yourself on value that your company offers, and so therefore you can't go project that into the world. And so job number 1 is get sold yourself, figure out what the value is, and then figure out a way to share that with other people and engage people in that. So, I mean, I don't care what the money is. If I can get someone talking about, the value to them is the fact that, they've had to work 80 hours a week because they have to give their broker X amount, or because they don't feel like they're getting creative marketing. I mean, you can find out what the person is missing, wants, and needs, and I'm sure there's something in your company that you can offer.
Right.
And support that.
And for our caller that called that question in, like you just said, Jackie, I think for sometimes you have to decide, do I truly feel that I've got a company that is capable of bringing anyone in regardless of anything else? And if not, start there. But also, we are an emotionally based industry, and that's why when you understand the emotion, you can focus there. You always get better results. So thank you so much for that. And because that I get that all the time too. I get that from brokers. That's like, well, how do I compete against this, or how do I compete against that? Or this year it was, I got a company offering, writing checks for $100,000 to my agents. But interestingly enough, as I projected a year ago, that really slowed down this year. Why? Because companies that were buying agents for checks upwards and including $1 million, but certainly, big checks, discovered pretty quickly that, again, 20% of the agents will take the check, 80% look for the relationship. And
that's right.
And if the agent's already unhappy anyways, you offer them a big check, they're going to take it. But if it were just about writing checks, okay, we'd have seen a much bigger shift in our marketplace this year, of agents moving to companies that tried that this year. But they've kind of wound that down. And so it is correct that in the absence of value, money will always become the substitute. And I want to say this, there are a lot of companies out there that basically are just, it's a flat fee operation. They're like, look, give us $4.95 a month, give us $400 a transaction or whatever, because we are not going to invest hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to create a lot of stuff to help you do business. But if you're just looking for a place where you can keep more of your dollar and, and operate freely, like, come join us. So there's nothing wrong with that, because there's a model for everyone. But you as a broker should not try to be all things to all people. Understand what it is. Yeah, who are you? What do you want to offer? And have you got it packaged in a way that people want to be part of it?
Well,
and find your groove of people that that are attracted to you. Like we talk about the fact that we're looking for entrepreneurial thinkers. We talk about the fact that we want people that are willing to think outside the box. And that don't need to be hand fed. If you're willing to do some of your own thinking and try new things and create new systems, don't sit and wait for your broker to do it. If you sit and wait for your broker to do it, you're behind the 8 ball already.
Exactly.
Get out the door, figure something else out for yourself, and then try it. Throw enough spaghetti at the wall, something's gonna stick.
Yeah. How do you create the best version of yourself? Like, again, it all starts with you. And believing that you've got like that incredible model. So that's so cool. Jackie, what an inspiration that you have been to so many brokers here today and our members. It's so refreshing to see someone, leave our training classes and then, go back to their office and actually apply it. And I want to applaud you for that, because sometimes, everyone's like, wow, great stuff. And then they leave and they go back and they just start doing the same things over and over. And as Albert Einstein said, right, if you do the same thing over and over and you truly expect different results, that's the definition of insanity. So you took the information, you went back, you made something that was already great. You already had a great model, but you took it to the next level and made it even better, so that you could continue to do what you're passionate about. And that shows in everything that you said and shared with our listeners today, Jackie. So thank you for that. And just being you. Wow.
Well, thank you, Judy, and thank you so much for that conference. And it has really made such a significant difference. I've actually already been lobbying for my broker to send other people on staff to the training, because I just think I love your vision, and I think you've got more knowledge on the tip of your finger than I hope to ever have. And I loved the relationships that I had a chance to build and being around other recruiters. And I think it's really nice too to understand that what we do it's tough. It's a tough job, and one of the things, that Judy pointed out too is that, not everyone can do this job, but if you're going to do it really well.
Mm-hmm.
And, believe that there is so much value in what you're doing. Some other people in the company may not see it, and it doesn't, and that was an issue that I had, and that I had that earlier, Judy. And I just released that. I just let that go. And I thought, you know what? It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. If I get up every day, go out and do my best, feel like I'm making a difference in other people's lives, change their lives for the better, and get up and do it again the next day, then you know what? I'm on the right path.
You are on the right path, and great job. And now, obviously, as you can tell, Jackie's focus is on bringing agents that are highly ethical, highly honest, with good morals into their organization, people that are entrepreneurs, people that are really, truly the best at what they are as part of their team. And so if you've got anyone coming into Jackie's Marketplace, Jackie, what is your marketplace again? So you've got Grand Rapids, Michigan, but what other areas do you cover? And if you've got referrals coming your way, I'm sure that Jackie would love to connect you with one of their agents and one of their marketplaces to handle your referral.
Sure would. Thank you. Yeah, so Grand Rapids, Spring Lake, Muskegon, Ludington, that's along the shoreline of Lake Michigan. We're just opening a new office up there. Kalamazoo, Portage, we're opening a new office in Jackson, and now we're going over to the east side of Michigan. So all of the east side of Michigan we're starting on this year.
Wow. Look out, east side.
But not tonight because there's an ice storm.
Right now it's under ice, but when it thaws out, look out because it'll be hot. Once the ice melts over there, yeah. Big ice storm there. So great.
It's going to be an exciting 2019.
Yeah, Jackie, any last words that you would like to give our listeners before we end today's call?
I would just love to say, you know what, if you're in this position and you are, you know, you're feeling doubt about it, or you're just wondering, like, is this really for me? I would just do some introspection and make sure that you're really starting each day with feeding your mind. Listen to a YouTube, listen to a podcast, get your mind in the right place, and then create a new definition of what you do. Don't let other people tell you what you do. You're not just a recruiter. You're not just, you know, a hunter, whatever. You are a person who impacts other people's lives. So that is important. And then the second thing is, this is critical into everyday life enjoyment, is choosing not to be offended. You know, it's so easy to be offended. You know, it's so easy to feel offended or to be hurt or to feel intimidated if someone scoffs at you or rolls their eyes or is like, oh, never, 5-star, ugh, you know. Don't let that affect you. Don't let that change your day, you know. I like to try to find a place of equanimity where, whether I just got a $15 million agent to say yes, or someone said, no, thank you, not right now, but call me in 60 days, or someone said, never, ever in your lifetime, I still stay in the same emotional plane, and I just keep doing what I need to do.
Right. Awesome.
That's
wonderful.
So thank you so much. Thanks for having me on the call. This was so fun.
Thank you. Awesome.
You are awesome, and thank you so much. And thank you, listeners, for being here today, and put everything that Jackie just said into place. It was all great. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Judy. Bye. Thanks, Julie.
Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Julie.